All right, what are we filming today? See what's happening on stream. So what do we want to make a video on? What do you guys want to see? Is it like iPhone versus Android? Ecovacs? Ecovacs? You suck. Ecovacs. 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 Okay. T30s. Let's do it. Before I get into everything, Ecovacs obviously cleans up, but I want you to clean up with $500. Made it super easy. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me the first thing you would clean with your Ecovacs T30s Omni Combo. Tell me a fact about yourself. Tell me anything that you want. Just make sure there's a way to contact you either with your social handle in the comment. Give the video a thumbs up. Let this run for 10 days. Open to anyone in the world. All the information you need down in the description below. All right, so this is Ecovacs T30s Omni Combo. The combo probably gives it away. It's an all-in-one robot vacuum and mop system, actually that I talked about, it's like 6-ish months ago. If you want to check out the whole full review where I get into the specs and Pascal units, all that kind of stuff, link the video down below if you want to watch that thing. One thing that I haven't done, and I get this question a lot with a lot of the videos we do, is do updates after kind of months of use. So this is still my favorite feature with T30s Combo, and like that word like combo is really true here. You get two vacuums in one vacuum. You get the robot, and then you get the little handheld guy. And if I had to count how many times I've needed a handheld vacuum like this over the past 6 months, I would be here for a really long time. I got 3 kids, 2 dogs. I love to say small messes pop up every day, but generally the large messes pop up all the time. It's lived at my house. It's lived here at the studio. It gets used every single day, and oftentimes used, I don't even know that it's been going. I just kind of come up to the studio and things look clean. So being able to sort of pick up this vacuum quickly, clean whatever is needed, and then put it back in the dock and empty and charge it for the next time is really invaluable. With just kind of a robot, sometimes you have to kind of place it where the mess is or go to your phone, just pick up a stick vacuum, clean it, put it back down, and it is really easy for those quick things. If my kids drop a cookie on the floor, if there are glass that gets spilled, plates get dropped, dishes, I mean, things are like I said, the more I say it out loud, we've got a problem in my house. Things are constantly breaking, and I need to constantly clean those things up. The nice thing, 6 months later, it's still working as expected. And sometimes I think that's a worry with vacuums like this, especially technology. They can get clogged or lose suction. Those little rollers, the hair gets stuck and they stop working. But I think because of the way that it's integrated sort of into the Omni Station, it's sort of kept working like it did on day one. So on the robot side, this works exactly as expected. That's the best compliment I can still give it. But there are a few kind of maintenance things that I've kind of encountered over the past 6 months. So first is the dustbin inside the Omni Station. So this is where the vacuum will empty out its guts, kind of empty everything it's sucked up during the cleaning cycle. This is the one area that you will definitely have to replace. How often? It's gonna depend on how dirty you are. And since it has a stick vacuum that I use a ton, it seems that dustbin does get full faster. I find I can go about a month or so before needing to change anything, and most of the time, and sometimes go 2, but if you're less gross and messy than we are, your usage is gonna vary. But swapping it out is really simple and easy. It's clean and doesn't get dirt everywhere, which is awesome. I've tested some of these vacuums where you take out the dustbin, it shoots it everywhere. It defeats the whole purpose. You literally just pull this thing out, throw it away, and put in a new one. The other area that you might need to change is the mop head. This one was not a surprise. Again, it depends on how often you're gonna mop things up, but after a while, these just sort of start to get gross and need to be replaced. My 2 boys play baseball. Many times I tell them to leave their cleats in the garage. They still sometimes walk in the house with cleats, and it's been muddy at home, and so our floors look gross. So having the mop go ahead and clean has been like a really valuable thing to have. So our mop heads have gotten dirtier. But I don't have to replace mop heads as often as I think a lot of people would expect. And that's because of the base station cleaning. So this thing has hot water, like really hot water, actually 158-degree hot water that will clean those mop heads. So it really gets in there and gets all that sort of mud and dirt and sort of gross stuff out. I haven't found the need to replace these heads as often as I expected. Depending on the amount you mop, it's kind of clean the base station where the mop cleaning takes place. The only other area to keep an eye on is the brush roller. This is another area that I kind of like to check on just periodically, but I haven't needed to replace or do any real maintenance here. And that is a giant deal. If you've used any of these similar robot vacuums, you know that is the first thing to get busted after a week or 2 weeks, or you get dog hair stuck in it or hair from somebody in your house and they stop working and trying to pull it out and it breaks. It's a disaster. Has not been an issue here at all, which is awesome. For the dustbin, I spent about 30 bucks or so for the replacements. And if I needed new mop heads, just so you know, this costs 30 bucks for 2 sets. So overall, it's a really low cost for maintenance. Another area that I've seen some people have concern about, especially with robot vacuums, whether or not the mapping is going to actually stay accurate. So after our use, that doesn't seem to be an issue at all. It can use this LiDAR to create a map and then create smart paths to clean it more efficiently. And so I use the map like a lot. So for example, I clean like the kitchen more often than the living room. I can use the map of the robot to just go clean that section. All the smarts are still working great, as good as they did on day one. I didn't think much of the True Edge feature when I first saw it until I lived with it for 6 months. Now the edges of the studio, my house, anywhere I use this are completely clean. You don't have dirt and debris that gets piled up towards the walls of your house. This is the first time I've really ever seen a robot mop be truly able to clean a space from wall to wall. This is one feature that like 6 months later, I am still really glad is here. There were a surprising amount of questions that come up with products like this, so I did kind of want to go and check out some of the reviews and see if I could help answer some of those kind of questions that arise. The first question is from a comment on that first video that asked whether this works on tile or just carpet and hardwood. The answer to that is yes, it works great on tile. In that first video, I mentioned that this is a system that works on every surface, and I really meant it. This can clean any type of floor and does it really well. So my experience, it can kick some debris around a bit, but if you just let it finish its cycle, it'll go back and get the area that kicked the debris out of. So you have to kind of let it finish its thing, and then it'll make sure everything is clean, and then it'll go back and empty itself. Works pretty good, works pretty well, but is a lot of money. So I'll admit this is obviously like not a cheap product, but in a lot of ways it is one of the better values out there, the type of device that you are getting. And because you are getting that stick vacuum with it, you're saving money that you otherwise would have to spend elsewhere. And a good stick vac, like a good one of this quality, will cost around 300 bucks. So sort of having that bundled in helps a lot. Plus there are promo codes and sales and stuff going on that bring the price even down further. So I probably don't have to give you like use cases for like a mop and a vacuum. Like you know that you need a mop and a vacuum. Taking toast out of the toaster, it falls on the floor, you get crumbs. If you have kids or dogs, the floors get dirty. My kids, like I said earlier, come in from baseball with mud on their cleats. They'll walk outside with dirty feet and come back in. The dogs go outside to do their business and come back and drag stuff into my house that I don't even want to mention on camera. You just need something that's going to do this maintenance for you. And I don't oftentimes have the time to go like, let me go get a bucket, let me get a mop, let me do this, then clean the mop, empty the bucket. Just knowing that this can go out and just do it on its own. And it's one of those products that actually works as advertised. And I mean that in the best possible way. It's also got a ton of suction power. It's got I think over 11,000 Pascal units of suction. It's got all the smarts you'd want for a modern piece of technology. And 6 months later, it's still working as well as it did on day one. And I keep talking about this, but living with things for 6 months, you can see things either rise to the occasion, especially technology, or start to fade off. And the T30S combo is as good as the first day I unboxed it, and now 6 months later. In fact, with software updates, it has even gotten better. And it addresses some of the biggest complaints that I've had with these robot cleaners of not being able to clean all the areas, or not as quickly, or not as smart. What Ecovacs has done has sort of put the best features of every single robot cleaner, and that's vacuum and mop, into one. If you are in the market for one of these, or just sick of looking at your dirty floor, or don't want to vacuum or mop yourself, I think you owe it to yourself to check out what Ecovacs is doing. And there's really no better time than right now. There's some crazy Christmas and holiday deals going on. If you want to check those out, all the information you need will be down in the description.